Automated content analysis, commonly known as ACAA, offers significant opportunities for communication researchers to analyze text at a scale which would be impracticable using solely human-based methods. ACA techniques rooted in sentiment analysis, lexical dictionary approaches, and supervised and unsupervised machine learning models provide academic researchers a multitude of methods to unlock often hidden discourse and meaning from large text corpora. For my project, automated content analysis techniques will be used on a large corpora of social media comments on shared links of news articles over a 1-year period. By focusing on two sites with distinct editorial perspectives from the political left and right, and comparing these results to a separate mainstream news organization's opinion section, it is hoped that ACA techniques will reveal discourse and online deliberation characteristics among and across these groups. In addition to studying political discourse online, my research also analyzes the ACA tools themselves. 3 specific methodological tools have been chosen, and this project examines their suitability for measuring political-based social media discourse. I wanted to start, however, with my literature review. Significant research has been undertaken on the concept of online deliberation, and the work of Fries and Elders, their systematic review of the growing body of work on the topic, provides invaluable insight on the concept. Fries and Elders argue that prevailing academic research on online deliberation reveals 4 fundamental premises of the practice. The rationalization of communication is its key source of legitimacy. Rules are necessary to ensure respectful forms of communication. Deliberation leads to beneficial outcomes, and deliberation requires a high level of inclusion which fosters a healthy public sphere. Citing the work of Wessler, Fries and Elders outline that the online deliberation consists of 3 dimensions, which is visible here in this graphic from the paper itself. The first dimension, input, focuses on the design characteristics of the online deliberation platform and how it affords constructive communication. The second dimension, throughput, is centered around the actual online discourse itself. The final dimension, outcome, considers the results of the online deliberation. Fries and Elders also outline several characteristics of digital platforms that are key for online deliberation. They outline that research suggests whether a platform's mode of information is asynchronous or synchronous impacts its quality of online deliberation. Asynchronous platforms, such as message boards, are thought to allow more meaningful discussion and reflection than synchronous live chat systems. Strong moderation is thought to have a positive impact on online deliberation. Empowerment is considered a significant contributor to online deliberation if participants feel that their participation is having an impact on the quality of participation is thought to be higher. Fries and Elders also outline that a healthy online deliberation space should allow for a division of labor, citing the success of crowdsourcing projects like Wikipedia. Fostering the creation of relevant information is also considered a key characteristic of effective online deliberation. Fries and Elders also explore several frequently used measurements related to the throughput aspect of online deliberation, including rationality, interactivity, equality, civility, and constructiveness. Rationality is most often measured by checking for whether online deliberation is coherent and on topic. Interactivity can be measured by analyzing if online users are allowing for a healthy back and forth exchange of ideas. Equality can be determined if all participants in online deliberation are able to participate. Civility is measured by analyzing whether deliberation involves toxic language or personal attacks. Constructiveness is measured by analyzing whether online deliberation moves towards a consensus or common ground. The work of Bowmans and Trilling provides an overview of automated content analysis approaches from a journalism perspective. Their research focuses on 3 broad ACA methods: counting and dictionary-based methods, supervised machine learning, and unsupervised machine learning. Counting and dictionary-focused approaches at their most basic work by counting the occurrence of different words and applying categorical meanings to their statistical output. One of the most common uses of this type of approach is sentiment analysis, which determines whether a piece of text has a negative or positive tone. Lexical-based tools, such as Luke, offer more complex insight like subjectivity and other affective components. One of the biggest drawbacks to a dictionary-based approach is that dictionaries are manually constructed and are often domain-specific. Supervised machine learning techniques rely upon human-coded categorical data. From this labeled data, models are built that can learn the characteristics of certain types of text. Supervised learning techniques are thought to require less manual labor than the construction of extensive dictionary-based tools. While supervised learning can be used to code predetermined categories, unsupervised machine learning techniques can bring order to unclassified data. Unsupervised learning is useful for grouping content together to determine common discourse, frames, or topics. Although unsupervised learning techniques don't require manual coding, it still requires manual human labor to make sense of the results. Bowman's and Trilling also outline that the use of automated techniques are not mutually exclusive of manual content analysis, rather that they believe ACA amplifies human abilities. Bowman's and Trilling also argue that there's no one perfect ACA approach and that these various methods are often used alongside one another and manual human coding. Grimman and Stewart state in their overview of the use of ACA on political texts that, quote, language is the medium for politics and political conflict. Given this, as communication scholars, automated methods help us understand what political actors are saying and writing. Their work outlines 4 helpful principles of automated content analysis. The first one is all quantitative models of language are wrong, but some are useful. Essentially, this means that automated methods fail to fully capture the complexity of language, but help researchers make inferences from their data. The second one is quantitative methods augment humans, not replace them. The third is there's no globally best method for automated text analysis. And the final one is validate, meaning that all use of ACA techniques must be validated to ensure they replicate human coding. The work of Rowe, Mark, and Maziman on the linguistic characteristics of social media commentary related to the Me Too movement across political perspectives provided significant methodological inspiration for this paper. Rowe et al. Cite their research has found that audiences are increasingly turning to social media sites to get their news, and there's a strong partisan divide on what news sources people tend to trust. Rowe et al. Examined the political discourse related to Me Too on Facebook from 3 politically distinct news publishers from the far left, the mainstream, and the far right. Using Luke and other ACA approaches, their research found that vulgarity reduced the persuasiveness of political messages, and that political messages conveyed with negative, effective language lingered in people's memories longer than information delivered with neutral language. Their results found that linguistic and effective text patterns across the far left and the far right were similar. Next, I wanted to focus on my research questions. With that background, my research project attempts to answer the following questions. My first research question is, using automated content analysis, what sentiment and lexical differences will be seen from comments on content from the far left, mainstream, and far right? Given the body of research on online deliberation and political discourse online, what will our automated content analysis reveal about the nature of political commentary on the Reddit social media platform? Like the research of Rowe on Facebook, commentary on the Me Too movement, will it reveal similar online deliberation patterns from both far left and far right content? My second research question is what similarities or differences will be revealed by the 3 automated content methods employed? As both Bowman's and Trilling and Grimmer and Stewart outline, there is no single automated content analysis tool that is applicable to all research applications. As such, what will our results from our 3 methodological techniques of sentiment analysis, a lexical dictionary approach, and supervised learning reveal about the appropriateness of these techniques to analyze political texts on social media? Will the measures resulting from the use of each of these tools provide some similar insight? My final research question is, what does the automated content analysis methods themselves reveal about political discourse on Reddit compared to other platforms? Do the designs affordances of Reddit, the Reddit social media platform, lend themselves to higher quality online deliberation compared to other platforms? Next, I wanted to go through my data collection technique. This project analyzes social media comments from Reddit on articles shared from 3 separate websites: the Federalist, the Intercept, and the New York Times opinion section. Each site represents content from a different perspective, the Federalist being conservative, the Intercept being liberal, and arguably the New York Times representing a more mainstream approach to news coverage. The comment data was acquired using a custom Python script that queried the push-shift Reddit API. The push-shift API offers advantages over Reddit's official API in that it doesn't limit the amount of data you can gather at one time and allows for greater flexibility in tailoring your search. The push-shift API was queried to return all posts that shared content linked to the domains thefederalist.com, theintercept.com, and newyorktimes.com. In the case of posts related to the New York Times content, each returned article URL was checked to determine whether it contained the string opinion in the URL before inclusion in the post data set to separate non-opinion articles from opinion articles. The queries for all of 2019, the year, returned 10,498 posts for the Federalist, 17,410 posts for the Intercept, and 38,284 posts for the New York Times opinion section. For these posts, in the case of the Federalist, 93,627 comments were gathered. The Intercept posts featured 151,479 comments, and the New York Times opinion section posts garnered 289,462 comments. I wanted to move a little bit more into detail on my specific methodological choices. As indicated, this project focuses on automated content analysis of Reddit comments on shared articles from 3 different websites. Using the All Slides media bias ratings, 2 sites were chosen from 2 ideological opposite sides of the political spectrum, with the Intercept from left and the Federalist from the right side of the political spectrum. While All Sides media bias rates the New York Times as leaning left, it represents a relatively mainstream counterpoint to the 2 polarized political news coverage approaches of the Federalist and the Intercept. So I wanted to go a little bit into the background of why I chose Reddit. Reddit is an ideal platform to study online deliberation for a variety of reasons. Reddit is unique among social media platforms in that it still has relatively easy and open access to its online data. Using tools like the push-shift API, the only limit a researcher with access to basic programming skills has regarding the amount of social media content they can collect is storage space and the amount of time you have to collect your data. Reddit also features several of the design characteristics that Fries and others posit are necessary for strong deliberation. 3 broad automated content analysis approaches have been chosen to analyze our collected comments: a sentiment analysis, a lexical dictionary approach, and supervised learning-based technique. Sentiment analysis was performed on social media comments using the Vader Sentiment Analysis Python library to measure the negativity or positivity of comments. The technical aspects of how Vader works are beyond the scope of this project, but essentially it is a rule-based model developed specifically to measure sentiment related to social media text. One of its advantages lies in that it measures not just the binary positive or negative polarity of comment, but also the intensity of that emotion. It was a sentiment tool created by academics for academic research and has been widely used across many fields of academic study. A Vader sentiment score was created for every comment across our 3 data sets. To compare the sentiment analysis of our 3 publications, an average sentiment score for all comments for each publication will be calculated. We also will calculate the percentage of comments with a sentiment score below 0.5 and above 0.5, below negative 0.5 that is, and above 0.5 in the positive, to determine the percentage of very negative and very positive comments for each publication. Our lexical approach to analyzing our comment corpora was performed using Luke 2015 software. Using Luke's internal dictionary, the software classifies the percentage of words within a corpus that fall within certain variable categories. For analysts, we applied the following variable measures to our data: analytic thinking, authenticity, positive emotion and negative emotion, anger, informal language, and swearing. The entire text corpora for the comments for each news website was individually processed with Luke, and the measurement scores for each of these variables will be compared. For analyzing the suitability of supervised learning techniques as an automated content analyst tool, our project employed the Google Perspective API. The Google Perspective API uses a machine learning model to provide a probability that a certain piece of online text is considered toxic. The tool has been developed by rating millions of comments from different publishers and labeling them from a range of very toxic or to very healthy. Each comment from our 3 publishers was provided a toxicity score from the Google Perspective API. Similar to our sentiment analysis comparison, an average toxicity score will be calculated for the comments of each publication, and the percentage of comments with a toxicity of over 0.7 will be calculated. So, given all of that, my preliminary hypothesis is that, like the Rowe study, our automated content analysis will not find significant discourse differences between online commentary on content on news content from left-wing or right-wing articles. I believe our research will show that Vader will provide a better indication of negative content than Luke 2015, but Luke 2015 will provide more meaningful insight into the deliberative aspects of the online content. I believe political discourse across Reddit as a whole will show a higher level of quality of online deliberation than reveals in other studies of other social media platforms. Next, I wanted to go through some of the limitations that I faced and challenges I faced when going through my research project. The biggest limitation I faced related to my methodological approach thus far has been the length of times it takes to get large data sets from Reddit. Gathering comments and post data from Reddit for the length of time that covers a year would often take over a day or more. I also struggled a bit with how to handle the disparity of data amounts for each publication. All 3 publications had varying amounts of posts and comments over the time period. I had initially thought about taking an equal random sample of data from each publication and then performing analysis on that body of text, but in the end decided to analyze all data and use percentages and averages when analyzing the data. My methodological approach relies on out-of-the-box tools, and I think a better method may have been to create something custom and use it at a smaller scale, but I wanted to focus less on the design elements of ACA systems and more about what they tell us about the content. Ethics questions have been limited. A more fulsome analysis of online deliberation would have had more of a study of user behavior, and this would have had more ethics considerations, but focusing on aggregate stats and not highlighting individual content pieces eliminated this consideration. A better analysis would have done data cleaning of things like automated editor posts, deleted posts, and other content similar to that. But with limited time and the large size of the corpora, cleaning the data would have been prohibitive. I also feel that a better analysis would have shown some form of unsupervised ACA example, but the implementation of unsupervised data techniques is complex, and there are not as many useful out-of-the-box implementations of these tools.